My muscles are just too big.
You know, but it's just like you guys lost your opportunity.
Braden's mom did the last time. Brent's mom did the best. Oh yeah. Where at? Hey, are you Facebook living?
No. YouTube. Why?
We're just talking about how we should get engine heat. Just sit here and let our $85,000 motors cool off and then go back and get engine heat. We'll be wide open right off.
Okay, we're going. Okay, we're going to put groups 1 and 2.
SprintCarUnlimited.com, coming to you from Knoxville Raceway. We're here with second place finisher David Gravel. David, just took you, got up, car was fast, sporty, could run high, low, got up to second. We're able to stay within sight of Brad, just couldn't get close enough to pull a move.
Yeah, I felt pretty good. I thought the car fired off really strong and felt like I could hit the bottom better than him. And then once he got to lap traffic and had to move up, I felt like he was a little bit better up high than I was. And I just struggled to clear the lap cars and just got a little weird. You know, this place is so tricky. You get tight, you get loose, and, you know, just didn't put away the lap cars as fast as I needed to. And then when I had the bottom open a little bit with, like, coming to the white flag, I think, I hit the bottom perfect, and Brownie, like, pretty much stopped in front of me. And, like, man, if I had that clear track to run the bottom, it would have been a whole different race. But that's racing, and Brad did a good job. And if the roles were reversed, you know, maybe we win. But I'm really happy bringing out a new race car, being quick time, getting in the dash, and, you know, having a great run.
How important is it when you pull out a new car to have a run like this and really put a complete night together? Yeah, you didn't get the win, but you were fast.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I mean, nervous, right? 65 cars. We pill-drove in the middle of Group B. You know, Flight A slowed down quite a bit. So didn't know how that was going to go. And, yeah, it all went well and smooth, and the car felt good from the drop of hot laps. So, yeah, really happy with what we brought to the racetrack today. And I don't know if tomorrow will be slicker, but it's cooler temperatures. And the track started to get tricky there at the end, but somewhat easy for most of the race. So as it gets trickier and more technical, I feel like that's where we shine. And yeah, I like our chances for tomorrow.
You know, you don't get, it almost was a throwback seeing Brad and you out front like that. You don't get that much now, especially with him going to a part-time schedule.
Yep.
Do you kind of think about that stuff every now and again, especially whether it was you winning, him winning, or regardless? It is different than what you're used to now.
Yeah, you know, Brad's a little bit older than me, and he's got a different time in his life. He's got a lot of other things going on. So, yeah, I think we like racing against each other. I feel like, you know, we always race pretty good. I feel like he maybe wrecked me once or twice more than I wrecked him. But, no, it's all good. A lot of respect. And obviously we want to be in the upper hand and win that. But tonight was just not our night. It's not like, you know, if things go a little bit our way or a little bit better, clear some lap cars, we got a real shot at winning. So sometimes that's racing, and I think tonight it was better to lead because all the lap cars are on the bottom, the leader's on the top, so there's not really like an opportunity for you to really make a move, where when it's the opposite, you know, there is. So I'm happy with the racetrack for the first night of the season. Feel like they did a good job. Rained an inch last night. You know, track is the same as it's been all last year. They seem like they prep it the same way and blade it and then water it and get it all greasy and then blow the grease off. And just I think with the cool air, it didn't widen out or slicken out as fast as it normally does.
Still, you're just clipping along here. You're mowing down solid finishes. Obviously, Hopstad was probably not your favorite place. I know you talked about it in a video, how it can be tricky. It's like nothing else. But for the most part, you guys are clipping along, rattling off good finishes. 6 races without a win. Obviously, that's something you want to correct, but assess where you guys are at right now in the season.
Yeah, I think, you know, I feel like we're in a good spot. I think it's just different this year. You see the struggles of certain teams. Like, look at tonight, how many good teams didn't make the show, right? Really good teams and teams that are good at Knoxville. So I think just things are a little bit different this year, and everybody's kind of searching to be good. And I think Buddy's had a just as fast as car as us all year long, and he just had a couple things happen. And I feel like we've just been chugging along. And, yeah, I mean, I feel like Carson's pretty good. He's lacking a little bit of qualifying speed, but the high limit side, I feel like a lot of those guys are very up and down. You know, Tanner's been the most consistent, but everybody else is very up and down. So I think it's just a trend of the season right now. Got to get in the swing of things, but we're pumped for the next couple weeks, you know. Going to Attica and Sharon and Lincoln and Williams Grove and another one here at Knoxville, then go to Eldora after that. So finally tracks I feel like that suit us more, and we're super excited, and we keep our qualifying up, we'll definitely win races.
Well, congratulations on another solid round.
Thank you.
SprintCarUnlimited.com. Coming in from Knoxville Raceway, night one with the World of Outlaws. We're here with winner Brad Sweet. Brad, driving a different car, obviously 7 races in this car. You've won 3 of them. Look good tonight. What's it like driving this thing?
Yeah, it's been good. It's just, I think a combination of things for me is just, taking a step back and just probably being a little happier to be at the racetrack for one, and then just, Paul and Trevor just bring a lot of experience. Paul's been around a long time, and his attention to detail. Just like things happen for a reason, and timing is everything, right? And so, it's just a good timing where it's for both of us probably to come together. We bring a lot of knowledge and experience, and we both, don't probably want to be on the road full time with families and kids, and there's not a lot of mechanics and team owners that are willing to run 20, 30 race schedules. So just I think it all works, but I'm honestly really pleasantly surprised, with the success and the speed of the car and how comfortable I've been able to get in such a short amount of time. So you never know how these things are going to go. But like you said, we won the couple NARC races, not outlaw race, and we're in contention the other night at Eagle to win the high limit race. And out in Arizona, we were broke one night and ran 2 top 5s. So just hats off to him. It's a quarter miles to 3/8 to half miles. This car's been fast, and it's fun to do something new. The 94 is a new number. Obviously, Paul's wife Natalie's old number. So yeah, a lot of they're playing with the lights on us, but yeah, no, it's just been fun. I'm enjoying myself. Obviously, winning, it's easy to say that, but playing into the rivalry a little tonight, coming in and kind of beating the Outlaws, and especially Cody Jacobs, as much as he runs his mouth about me and how bad I am for the sport. It's fun. I think the rivalries, as long as it stays fun, I think it's good for the sport. We don't really need a ton of division here, so I don't want to stroke any division. Love the platform the Outlaws, have created over all these years, and what High Limit's doing. I think we're all trying to grow the sport, and I think nights like tonight when we all come together, you see some incredible racing.
It seems like there's been no adjustment for you behind the wheel of this thing. Like, you didn't have to adjust to the car or anything. Was there any? Because it sure doesn't look that way.
It sure helps when, I think I needed probably a little bit of a reset, not racing for points and just kind of being a little more relaxed is a big, key factor for me. But, the car is different, and there's definitely some things that are different, but, it's probably, something that I just had to change my mindset around. And I'm not going to come in and change Paul Silva and Kyle Larson's package, and I'm honestly was nervous that I wouldn't, I'd be the weak link. They've had so much success, and Paul and Trevor work so hard. I, probably had a little self-doubt that, man, I hope that I can get comfortable and I can, kind of run at the level that they're used to running. And, I know that's probably weird for a 6-time champion to say, and someone that's been around and won the races I have, but, what they've been able to accomplish is nothing short of amazing either. So, yeah, I think, I ended my career full-time driver with Kasey, and we had so much success, and I'm so proud of all that, this to me is just a part-time fun thing, and I'm having fun, but it's, like I said, surprisingly going, better than I thought. And I think that, there was some things I was probably looking for in a race car last year, and probably, driving, telling myself it needs to feel this way, and, coming here just a fresh slate and just trying to drive the car like he has it, and honestly, it's just been faster. And saying that I'm just trying to get used to it.
Look good tonight. Still tricky. You had to move around, slipping and sliding a little bit out there.
It's tricky. I mean, 410s at Knoxville when it gets slick and wide is when you make mistakes, you pay for it. This car ran good on the top, ran good on the bottom. I had to, I definitely was working on lines and stuff, but I was pretty comfortable and under control. I made some mistakes for sure. Paul's, the car definitely feels, there's some things I got to get used to that, things happen a little quicker in his car than maybe what what I'm used to. So, I think there's some mistakes, but one thing, his car just recovers and get going. It recovers really easy and gets going fast. So, yeah, I think just getting comfortable. Like I said, 7 races in to win here is pretty amazing.
Yeah, how much does this mean to show people, hey, I can still do this, even though I'm part-time, I can still beat the Outlaws, obviously, like you said earlier. And it's Knoxville. Let's face it, you're going to be back here in August.
It's fun. I mean, I was for years in the conversation of best team and best driver and winning points championships. So when you take a step back, you kind of wonder if you're ever going to get mentioned in that conversation again. And yeah, I think if we continue down this path, then who knows? Even though if it's a part-time gig, this might be a driver, owner mechanic combination that's more potent than we all suspected.
Well, congratulations on the win. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of the SprintCarUnlimited.com live show. I appreciate everybody jumping on. No high limit race tonight, so we'll have plenty of sprint car racing to talk about uninterrupted, and we'll get right to your questions and get rolling. Jeremy, are you coming to High Banks this year? That's the plan. I'm looking at it. I was looking at airfare earlier today. Among all the news breaking and whatnot, 3 stories up. We have 2 of them on SprintCarUnlimited.com. Almost forgot the name of the website, which is bad. So yeah, I want to come out to that. There's a lot of different options. I mean, there's Super Dirt Cup, there's High Bank, but tentative plan right now is to go to all 4 days of the High Bank. Oh, I'm getting the one to go sign already. Excuse me. Bob on line 1. Bob, how are you?
I'm doing great. How was your trip back here to God's country?
God's country. It was good. I thought it was, I'm glad I made the trip. It was different than being there for the Nationals. That's for sure. There was nobody around. They got a good crowd. It wasn't a bad crowd. It's just when you're at the Nationals, you're swamped. Whereas this past week, it was very chill, very laid back. I enjoyed it, and there were some good stories there. I have a couple stories that I got to write this week from there. One on Jace Park and the other on the McGee Motorsports team. It was worth my time.
Did you get back here before the storms or after them?
I got there Friday afternoon and left Sunday, so I didn't get any. I avoided all storms, thankfully.
Well, good for you, because it got kind of nasty back here.
That's what I heard.
I did want to ask you, what do you think of Macri's putting Kasey Kahne in that car?
I mean, it makes sense. Joe Mooney used to work for Kasey. I think, too, who you get? I know some people were taking shots at Kasey, which I don't understand why. They're just running the month of May. I have no problem with the choice. Kasey has shown speed at times. He's also gotten on his lid a few times. But considering what they want to do, and I think it's a good pairing. I'm okay with it. Kasey can time well, and that car can certainly time well. It'll be interesting to see how they fare the rest of the month. They got a bunch of World of Outlaws races and high limit events, so some national touring stops, and they have a few local shows. I like that they're easing in with local shows this week, and it looks like the weather is going to be okay, which that's good. And he'll get some valuable laps and go on from there. But yeah, I have nothing bad to say about it.
And then I've always been curious, where does Silva keep his equipment?
I think, well, I think he keeps it. He lives in Indiana, I believe. I know he's married to Natalie Sather. I'm not sure where they're out of. I think they're in Indiana or in that area, but I'm not 100% sure. And I'm not stalking him.
Do you think he keeps something back in California and then something in the Midwest?
Yeah, I think that Kevin Kozlowski car. I mean, I assume Kevin Kozlowski owns the one on the West Coast, or maybe he owns all of it. I'm really unsure on that whole situation. And Paul doesn't talk about it. Paul really doesn't talk to anybody outside of his drivers and some other crew members. So I don't really know what the split is there. I was always under the assumption that there's a car out on the West Coast, the Kozlowski car, and then he has his stuff in the Midwest. But I don't know if that's for certain.
Did any of our locals impress you at all?
At Knoxville?
Yeah.
Knoxville. JJ Hickle looked really good. I thought he looked very spry. Ryan Timms is going to run for points there. He indicated when I talked to him that they were going to do that. The only race I think they're going to miss is the King's Royal. And depending on weather, who knows? So, yeah, Timms, Hickle looked really good. Hickle stood out to me. I thought that car had a lot of speed, and it wasn't as good the second night, but he still made the A main. So I was, that with that field, 65 and 63 cars, making the A main was a chore, and he got it done.
Just interesting fact. Matt Morrill graduated with my son, and I graduated with Matt's dad.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, you're up there then.
Yeah.
By the way, we just got Lauda said Silva has a shop in Sacramento.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Or does he? Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's some where he lives, but doesn't matter. Both of them are fast.
Okay. Well, that's basically all I wanted. Thanks for taking the call.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye. All right. What else we got? Expectations for Kasey Kahne and new ride. I expect him to make A mains. I think he can get a top 5 or 2 in local shows, maybe in a high limit race. I think it's doable. They're going to have time trial shows this week, I believe. And, Port Royal, he's obviously seen Port Royal. He's won at the Grove. So I don't expect him to win. I think expectations, is to make the A main, for the high limit World of Outlaws events. I think that would be solid. Who are the top 2 PA teams right now, or maybe more? Chase Dietz is number 1. I think there's no doubt about that. I would say right now a flip between Danny Dietrich and Troy Wagaman. I think Dietrich had a bad outing at Sealands Grove. Sorry, my eyes bother me. But that happens. Wagaman has been pretty good. So I'd say Dietrich or Wagaman. I'd still probably take Dietrich because I think he's decent pretty much everywhere. But Chase Dietz, far and away the best car right now with Macri on the shelf. It still continues to worry me, sprint car racing at unsafe tracks. Eagle Raceway with car leaving the track. Is it time for drivers to take a stand and not race at these tracks until safety is improved? Well, a guy can go out of the track at any, he didn't go like out of the ballpark at Eagle. I don't think Eagle is one of the unsafe facilities, not in my mind. I think there are a lot of unsafe facilities, but that one does not stick out to me. Drivers aren't going to do it. I'm not convinced that drivers will band together to do anything. So you say drivers take a stand. I just don't see it. I think the minute let's say high limit, I think the minute Aaron Reitzel or Tyler Courtney or somebody like that, you get a couple of them together, I think the rest will line up to race. If the World of Outlaws are somewhere, I think if, let's say, Buddy, Donnie, and Sheldon all say, hey, this is unsafe, we're not going to race, I think the other ones will like band together with them for about 10 minutes, and then the minute they call for hot laps, they'll be out there. I've seen this in the past. I saw this with Sammy Swindell. It was it might have been Orange County. Sammy Swindell got everybody together. They were all on board. We're all going to, band together and not race. Well, when they called for hot laps, the only one loaded up was Sammy Swindell because other people feel they have a chance to win. So drivers banding together, while that seems like a great idea, they are the show. They have more power than they realize, but they don't do anything about it. And I don't think that's going to change. Any idea when Dennis Gainey's team will be back out and if Hickel will be in it again? Are we getting any closer to getting the full story on what happened with him? Well, I think it's a legal issue, so no, not right now. I don't see that getting resolved till sometime over the summer. As for JJ, when he's in the Midwest, at least at Knoxville, he's going to be running that Matt Morrow 2M. And why wouldn't you? It's really fast, it seems like. As for road shows around that region, I don't know what the plan is. And I think probably Dennis Gainey might not really know what the plan is. But it'll be interesting to see how this all pans out. I'm not going to say too much about it. Again, it's a legal issue, and I'm certainly not going to burn any confidence with anybody as far as, that stuff. But I think we'll see it. I don't know if JJ will be in it. I could see someone else being in it. With Bill Rose and Connor Morrell splitting and Greg Wheeler and Scotty Field splitting, we probably lost 2 cars on the World of Outlaws tour. New 17 cars is too many. 15 is more reasonable. You're going to lose the 16C, but Connor Morrell, I just put the story on. I just did 2 stories, one on the Wheeler Field thing, and I just finished the Morrell Rose one right before the show. Morrell plans to stay out there. As for the second car with Bill Rose, he's looking at getting a driver. If he can't, he's just going to focus on Kasey Jedrzejek, which he's done phenomenal, I think, for as many races as he has in a 410. So it's not guaranteed that you're going to lose 2. 1 definitely, maybe, and you're not losing 2 anyway. It might be a push, because if Rose puts a second car out and Connor Morrell stays, it's a push. You're going to still have 17, but you're going to have 16 no matter what. Do I think 16 is too many? Yes. Do I think 15 is too many? Probably. I think that 13, 14 is the sweet spot. Looking at the points and kind of the results and the way they fall. But I think we're just going to lose 1. That's it. And again, it might be a push. If Bill Rose fills a second seat, because he does have 2 cars registered as an owner, you're going to have 17. Is it me, or is Dirt Vision's broadcast quality way behind Flo's? They can't even keep current the drivers' photos during event lineups. I think it's you. I think, to me, I think both of them are pretty good. Again, with Flo, you have, okay, they're picking up the pace with the high limit broadcast. They're making it better. Their late model night in America deal is phenomenal. Okay, I would say that, but they don't do it for every show. Not every race on Flow has the production quality of Race Night in America, or even the kind of the high limit TV shows. So you have a drop. And the same with Dirt Vision. The broadcast from Williams Grove is not the same as the broadcast with the World of Outlaws. I think the World of Outlaws and high limit programs are pretty close. I think they both do a good job. I'm not going to criticize either of them on that. And then your local shows are your local shows. You're not going to devote as many resources to those because not as many people watch them. And I think that's the split. I think maybe I think the World of Outlaws product and the high limit product are pretty good. Any predictions on how the last two games will go for the Flyers and Pens? I still have the Flyers winning it. I'm going to say they win it in 6. I think they're going to go back to Philly, and that's where they get it done. I still think the Penguins, old, slow. Granted, they won the last 2 games. That doesn't shock me. You know, those guys have been around so long that they're not going to go down without a fight. But I have the Flyers' young legs getting it done in Game 6. Jeremy, I've seen a couple 410 drivers agree with Nick Swaggart in that Port surface has been terrible this year. If they don't get it figured out soon, they will lose cars. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I definitely don't agree with how he presented himself. I thought that was low rent and stupid, to be honest. And now, is he wrong about the surface? No, there's been problems with the surface this year. And it's rutted up a few times in the corners. I was not there that night, so I can't speak to that track surface. And I'm not going to go back and watch a 305 race. I'm sorry. Call me not dedicated. That's fine. I'm just not going to do it. But again, I know they've had some problems with it. The last time out, or the last time I was there for a 410 race, it was better. There was significant improvement. Now, they better get it right, obviously, for high limit coming in for a $100,000 to win race. Do I think they can get it right? Sure. But again, I don't know if it has to do with the new clay they put down, when they put it down, or what the problem was. The last 410 race wasn't near as bad as the first couple. We'll see. Also want to say that only 3 tracks so far have been a consistent and good every week, those being Lincoln, Baps, and Sealands Grove. Don't disagree. I have not been to Sealands Grove, but I'll take your word for it. Baps has been good. Now, the one, they had a 40-minute delay, but people don't care if you have a delay if you're trying to get it right. They couldn't leave the track the way it was. They started during the day, so obviously that's a problem. The way the surface was in the feature made up for the fact that it was a long time to get it right. I think people give them a pass, and they were done at a reasonable time, again, because they started during the day. I would agree. I think Lincoln's had some really, really good surfaces, even daylight surfaces this year. All the credit in the world to Fred Putney. Does a great job down there. Thoughts on the $30 admission price for PA Posse Series races when next week it's just $10 more for the World of Outlaws shows? Seems like it has hurt attendance at other series races when weather was good. Yeah, I don't like it. But it's not just the fact that it's $30. I don't like it because you're paying more to see the same drivers you see for $25 and $20. That makes no sense. I understand that the purse being higher. I get that. Fans don't care. Fans don't care if you're paying $6,000 or $5,000, which is the difference. The basic PA Posse Series race is $6,000 to win, $600 to start. Most of the shows around here are $5,500 or $5,400. Fans don't care. So paying $30 to see Chase Dietz, Danny Dietrich, Troy Wagaman, Freddie Raymer, when you're going to see him the next week at a cheaper price, it doesn't sit well. So yeah, I'm not in favor of that. Not at all. And I agree. I don't think it's really been a positive for attendance. So far, the series on the whole has been kind of I don't think it's been a big deal at all. I don't think, I have the numbers. I ran them in my top 50 today, and I'll likely do a 90 at 9 on this very topic a little later in the week here. It's been a nothing burger so far. Sharon this Saturday, high of 50. Think I'll stay home. I am tentatively planning to go to Attica and Sharon. So I will be on the road a second weekend in a row. I can drive to both, and I'm going to be in central Pennsylvania a lot this year, as the same as every other year. So if I can go out, I'm going to do it more. And I just hope they race, I guess. Brandon Shepard wins by 5 seconds at Hagerstown Saturday night with a Ford motor. Why can't a guy make it work in the 410s? I just think it's a different animal all the way around. I think, fuel injection, it's just the motors are different. So I'm not going to beat Ford up for that. Macedo, Kistler's obviously doing the Ford motor program now. Carson Macedo had a top 5 with it at Eagle. It looked reliable, looked like he had some pep, everything. Raced well. Would have liked to have seen where he ended up if he wouldn't have got into the fence. Well, I guess he was running first or second. I think he slid sweet, and then he got into the fence and fell back. Would have liked to have seen if that doesn't happen. But it looked good. Why they can't get it right, I don't have an answer for that. What's your opinion on Mansfield running against Wu at Sharon? I don't think it's a big deal. And the reason is, I think there are a lot of guys in Ohio who aren't going to go to the World of Outlaws event anyway. And how far apart are they? I don't know the distance. I would speculate 2 hours. I'm okay with it. I don't have a big issue with it. Macedo's Ford looked pretty sporty last week. Yeah, I was actually surprised. For a first-time run in the car, I was surprised. Now, I don't think we'll see it in a World of Outlaws event anytime soon. I think that's obviously there's going to have to be more testing. Maybe he runs a Ford at Eldora for the first 2 nights for the Joker's Jackpot. It'd be interesting. Since you're there 4 nights, you get a really good indication between one motor to the other. I could see that being the next time that he has it in. But yeah, good start. We'll see what happens. Does Kahne get a win in the 39M? That's a bit of a stretch. That's a bit of a stretch. He's going to run a lot of national touring races. I think to expect a win that's a bit much. It's going to take him some time to get acclimated. I would be willing to bet, and I don't think I'm stepping out of line here. That's probably the fastest car he's ever, from a sprint car standpoint, it'll be the fastest car he ever got in. No doubt in my mind. So, but I do think he'll be maybe better than some people think. Win a race, that's a stretch. Would have liked to see Macri give a young driver a chance. Schweibens, Snyder Jr., or Cameron Smith. Why put a guy in it worth $50 million to run mid-pack? Well, Cameron Smith's not going to leave his ride with Lefevre. And Schweibens, I don't know how much I want to say, but Steven Snyder Jr. is no longer in the Hefner Enterprises car. Okay, that he got let go in the last day or two. So I would say the Kahne thing was, and plus Snyder has Chad Boat. He's running Texas this week. And Schweibens, I think, got a call from that 27 and turned it down. I think those guys are locked into their deals, and I'm seeing a little bit of loyalty in central Pennsylvania lately. Shocking, because there's not always a lot of that in in sprint car racing in general. But those three guys are not going to leave their seats. Here's the other thing. And when I talked to Nick Macri, he said this. Nobody is auditioning for this ride. And I think the way social media is, the way fans get wrapped up in it, I think they might have wanted somebody who there was no doubt that they were going to be in the car only as long as Anthony's out. And I know that, and I know you know that, Lauda, but it's just a whole thing. But those three guys, Cameron Smith wouldn't leave the Lefevre deal. No way. And Schweibens, apparently he likes that John Westbrook car because I heard he turned down Hefner Enterprises deal, and Snyder, again, he has a lot of oars in the water, and I don't think people realize he just got let go. Sweet dominated in the same equipment as Kahne did. Saying he hasn't been in a car similar is absurd, dude. You need to think before you speak sometimes. I would be willing to bet Kasey Kahne has not sat in a car as fast as Anthony Macri's car is. I have no problem saying that at all. You can say it's the same stuff. It doesn't mean it's as fast as Sweet's. Just because you have a two-car team doesn't mean they're exactly the same. And it doesn't mean they're set up the same. It doesn't mean they're as fast. That's like saying when Paul McMahon, when they had two cars at TSR they were the same. The same result. No, different crews working on it. Sorry, that's just I would say you're not thinking when you're talking about that. Same equipment doesn't mean it's as fast. It's not what it means. There's different people working on it. It's altogether different. So I'm comfortable saying that Anthony Macri's 39M is the fastest car Kahne has ever been in a sprint car. Why did Snyder get fired? I'm going to save it for tomorrow's 90 at 9. Let's just say there was a conflict of races. It was a conflict with him running, but originally it wasn't a conflict. Then because of rainouts and things, it became a conflict. And then, of course, one side's not going to like it, and they let him go. Talladega was good for sprint car racing. Several times throughout the broadcast, they highlighted he was a sprint car driver. They even referenced his Eagle win in Victory Lane. It doesn't hurt. No, I mean, Corey Day, hey, I did not think he'd win this fast in an Xfinity car. I thought it would be a bigger adjustment. I didn't think that would happen. Now, Talladega, of course, is different. Yeah, the drafting and all that. I don't care. I still didn't think he'd win that fast. I just didn't. Credit to him. And good. No, it's good that they mentioned sprint car racing. Nothing wrong with that. If you were allowed to only attend one track size for the rest of your life, what size track would it be and why? Probably 4/10, or it would be a little under a half, 4/10, like a Baps, Lincoln size, something like that. Because you're getting the best of both worlds. It's small enough that where it can race real well, but you're not driving like 40 miles an hour because it's a third of a mile where you can draw them in the corners. I get that it's side by side, but I'd like a little more. So 4/10. You know, if you ask me which track, though, it'd be Eldora every day of the week because I think it races well, has speed. But yeah, 4/10. I just think you're getting the best of both worlds. You get speed and some close racing. Is Tim's going to continue on the high limit midweek series? Go Flyers. I don't know. I know he's going to run Knoxville. I could see him missing one or two just from the travel standpoint because he's getting back to Knoxville. Is he going to be at Grandview in Pennsylvania? I question that. Now I did hear him last week talk about possibly trekking in from Knoxville to race the Weikert finale, but there's no way he's going to drive into Grandview, drive back to Knoxville, then drive back to PA. So I would say he misses a couple. Chicken dumplings or chicken noodle? I was out with Neil and just wanted a late night snack, and they had this at the Quick Star out there. They had a little thing of chicken dumpling soup, and it was really, really good. It was sensational. Nothing wrong with soup. Chicken dumpling, a little thicker. Wish Connor Wade would have been at Knoxville and heard Buddy and Brownie's side of the story on the slide job. Said that Dirt Vision failed to follow up on the conversation during the red flag. Connor Wade was at a wedding. He wasn't getting fired or anything or replaced before that starts. He had a week off. But look, it was close. And Brown actually almost put Buddy in the wall in the front stretch in the start. I just think, look, there's a lot of close racing. There's a lot of close calls. And guys, it's almost like it's 95 degrees already and guys are getting chippy. Guys have a quick tempers more now than it seems like they've been. I don't know. I think Buddy's getting sick of getting squeezed. After the weekend, do you rate Gravel and Tim's top two Nationals favorites? Yes. Yes, I do. Yeah. And I'd say Sweet is third. And it's only because that car's so good there. I would have liked to have seen him race the entire time on Saturday. I think he spun coming out of turn 4, and then Kerry Madsen had nowhere to go. I think Brad's car was good. Probably, I would say Friday night was the best I've seen Brad there a significant amount of years since he's won it. So yeah, Gravel, Tim, Sweet, top 3 as of now. They raced there 3 more times, by the way, before August. Is Candyman the new full-time driver of the X? Candyman. I don't think full-time, no. I think you're going to see sporadic guys in that car. Bernie Beard told me in the story on SprintCarUnlimited.com that he's going to, I don't want to say revolving door. I don't think it's going to be 10 guys, but I think there's going to be different guys in this thing. And Robbie Kendall doesn't want to race every week. You know, he has his family and whatnot. I think you're going to see multiple guys. Eagles wall opening getting into 1 is very sketchy. They've improved it, but it's still iffy. Yeah, I mean, I can see your point. Again, out of list of safety issues, that place isn't even in my top 10. But yeah, I could, you never want fast part of the track like that to have a wall problem, get into a corner. I'm curious about your post about High Limit and Wu doing a show together last week. Was that wishful thinking, or have you heard something? Oh no, wishful thinking. Look, we all get wrapped into this World of Outlaws versus High Limit versus World of Outlaws. You know, which drivers are winning when they get together. Think about an FS1 show. You have a platform and all the guys can go. I guess maybe I hope Carter's listening. Just co-promote it with him. It's going to help all of sprint car racing. Remember, the NFL used to be the AFL and the NFL. It's now AFC, NFC. They're the same cars, you know, and I just, for those TV races, I think it would be beneficial if they were together. Now, it's not going to happen the whole time because obviously the schedule, you have 6 of them and the Outlaws could be wherever. You know, they could be out in the Midwest, but the ones where they're close, I just wish Carter would give them the TV races. And then you work out some deal with Brad, some co-promoting deal. I think Brad would do it in a second. I think Brad is open to pretty much anything that that he feels will up the profile of the sport. It was wishful thinking because it isn't going to happen. There's no way. World of Outlaws do not need to do that. And who watches FS1? Okay, here again. What do you mean they don't need it? So is the object to just be the same thing, never get bigger, never progress, never bring more to the sport? Is that where we're at? Is that what we want to do? Everybody says they want it to get bigger, but then they scoff at corporate sponsorship. Which do you want? They don't need it. It's not about needing it. It's about doing something that maybe helps the overall profile of the sport. Yeah, nobody needs it. It's just, why not do it? It can't hurt. It's not going to hurt anything if they would. So I don't understand that thinking. Nobody under 30 or 40 buys cable. FS1 is in different YouTube packages. That's short-sighted. That's short-sighted. That's just ludicrous. I noticed Cody Jacobs recognized you being number 1 during your... Yeah, I didn't catch it until after I put it up. Yeah. Hey, I never understood that. Drivers do that too. I've seen that multiple places. It's like, I guess, is a funny thing. I don't know. But yeah, I saw you did that. I talked to Cody a little bit out there. Not a lot. It's fine. The world-renowned Dr. Midnight on line 2. World-renowned. Doctor, how you doing?
We have a current bad going with the world out and losing badly at this point.
Yes.
I'm trying to come up with a way to get my money back.
Yes.
I want to bet you that Kasey Kahne will not average a 10th place finish over his run at 39 AM.
No, I'm not doing that.
12th place.
Oh, you're just going to keep going down the line?
Yeah.
No, because no, I'm not. No. No. Because, okay, if he doesn't make the field, what's he get?
He goes to 25th.
25th.
That's where he finishes in the semi.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Well, it depends where he finishes. 15.
No. Here's the thing. I'm comfortable.
You're saying they're putting a driver in one of the best cars in the country, and you're saying he cannot even average finishing 15th. You will not bet on that.
I will not bet on it. I'm not saying that he can't. I'm saying I'm not betting on it.
Well, why not?
Because I have a phrase that I use, and I think you might have heard it a few times. It's called chipping away. Betting on Kasey Kahne in the 39M is not chipping away. That's swinging for the fences.
16.
I am not betting a 16th place finish. Okay. All right. Now let me think.
10 races?
Here's my concern. If there's rainouts, it's only 10 races.
Oh.
That's a big swing. What's that? Your phone's kind of.
Oh, I'm sitting still.
Okay. Now we got you.
Okay.
16th. It's got an average of 16th place finish. See, the problem is I won't be able to settle the other bets till the end of the year.
Fine.
We have we have one with gravel. What was the other one? We had two. Or no, I had two.
The Tony shot off the hood?
You know what? I don't
remember.
I think I have two with Joseph Terrell that were high limit. So I might only have one. No, I think we have another one. I forget what it was. That's bad. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, we should have wrote them.
We should have wrote him. We should have wrote him down. How much you want to bet?
Well, what's our bet on the outlaw title?
50
bucks?
50. It's 50.
Okay, we'll make this one 25.
16th place finish. I'll tell you what. I'm not going to do 16. I say he finishes. Let's make it sporting. Let's say he has to average a 12th place finish.
Okay, I'm on for that. 12?
12th. I'll do that. We'll do it.
Okay.
25.
Okay.
Yep, we'll do that.
We got some action then.
Now, we love action.
Okay, it's all I got.
All right. All right, doctor.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Always love the doctor. I think I just got duped. John Westbrook on line 3. John, how are you?
Well, how are you doing, Jeremy?
I'm doing fine. I want to know if you'll do a deep dive with me sometime. Everybody wants you to do a deep dive with me.
Yeah, I don't know how diving's going to go in a wheelchair.
Well, okay. What do you got for me? What's wrong with you?
Well, first off, I saw that the phone number wasn't your phone number on the thing, so I had to call it to see what was going on.
Okay.
It was like a professional thing.
It is a professional thing at SprintCarUnlimited. That's right.
Yeah. So my question for you is, so I actually got two questions. One, how was the Cowboys draft? And the other one is racing related, but go ahead with the draft first.
I liked what the Cowboys did. I think getting Downs for the secondary, I think he's an anchor there. I like the draft. They went mostly defensive minded, which they needed to do. They're fine on offense. You know, they're one of the best offenses in the NFL. Obviously, franchising Pickens, and he signed it. So I think they're good on offense. And so defensively, they got an edge guy in the first round. They got Downs. So I'm good with it. Finally, I'm good with it.
All right. Well, that's good. So the other question I have is Brad Sweet running that 94 car at the Nationals?
Yeah.
And he is? Okay.
Yep.
And what do you think about the is there any chance to have a racetrack on a Friday night, work with another racetrack, and take a night off so the other can race.
I assume you mean Sealands Grove and Williams Grove?
Yeah, like wouldn't it take some pressure off Williams Grove and not have to be the Friday night guy? Like that's a lot of financial burden on them if they kind of split it up with another racetrack. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
mean, it's probably coming in the future anyway.
Yeah, I mean, everybody
So
talks about that. They talk about Williams Grove going special events. I don't know what's going to happen with the future of weekly racing. And John, just so you don't pop right out of your wheelchair, make sure somebody's holding you down. I am now on board with your handicapping theory.
Thank you.
Mark this day. Huh?
Even Danny Dietrich posted something about it the other day.
Well, that's another story for another time. I'll do a 90 at 9 on it, so I'm not going to talk about it too much now. The Grove's not going to do it. They're off for Port Royal for the Weikert now. And they only race to the first weekend in October, late September, whatever it is. They're off for the Tuscarora 50.
Yeah, they do have some good breaks there.
Yeah, but I just don't see them taking off for Sealands Grove, and part of it's ego. I don't think they want to admit, or I don't think they want to appear like they succumb to another track coming in. And really, I don't like the idea of Sealands Grove running against them. I didn't like it in the first place. I'm not going to turn around and like it now. I don't
like it either.
Okay. I mean, because there's still some Sundays there that they could run. But nevertheless, look, they're going to have bad crowds anyway. As long as they have World of Outlaws events, the Grove will be fine.
Yeah, well, I got one more thing also.
Go ahead.
Do you have a problem? And this is, I'm not picking sides here. I like Chase and everything he did up there, but I think that we have a problem up there. First of all, how did he get the tire changed with one lap to go in time to get back out there? And how do you restart in third place? Don't you think that if you're going to go in and change a tire, you should at least go to the literal back of the field?
Okay. I'm glad you brought this up. Number one, the first part I don't know. I thought of this on the plane ride home from Knoxville. How did they get a tire changed? Is there a work area the entire length of the race?
I don't know.
I don't
know.
As for where he started, you can't start him behind guys who are on the lead, who aren't on the lead lap. He lapped up the third. You can't.
Yeah.
You always start in front of cars that are a lap down.
When did that change? Because I remember,
a while ago,
even when I was like, what, I didn't see the bulletin that came out about that, because it was always kind of like a courtesy thing. You'd have some guys that would pull over,
yeah,
and you'd have some guys that would stay there, right?
Yeah.
And I think that was even when I raced, and that was a long time ago. But I don't remember when that changed.
No, they don't often do bulletins in this area, as you well know. So, you can't. He already lapped him. They're not on the same lap. You can't start a guy who's on one lap behind guys who are on a lap that they didn't complete. You can't do that.
I mean, if you were good enough, why couldn't you just stop on the track if you were second or third and just restart the race then? You know what I mean? And catch up.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think the fact that he was one lap from winning the thing, I think he just. As for him changing the tire, that I'd like to know, because you can't change a tire without them waiting.
Oh, one more thing about the PA series. I think it's a flop, and I have not seen one official from the series. I hear about officials. I see things posted about officials, but I've never met, nor has one had like a shirt that said anything. Like, is it really a series? I think it's kind of like
initiative.
Yeah, it's like it's not legitimate. It's just a bunch of the, like, you get all this money together for a point fund for nothing. And I think it's a flop. I don't think it's any good. I think it's gonna, unless they actually make it legitimate and serious, it's gonna flop.
We'll see.
That's all
No problem, John. Thank you for calling. I do think that the series, as we see it now, is not going to be the same in the future. I do think there'll be changes. So I'm going to give them time to tweak it. Do I think it's a big deal now? No, I agree. I said that earlier. They do need to work out some bugs, definitely, with this thing. And hopefully they do, and it doesn't kill weekly racing, because if it does, that's a problem, because you're not going to develop drivers. And that's the big thing with handicapping. I'm not going to get too in the weeds on that. But John, I appreciate your call.
All right.
Thanks. All right. What else do we got? Do we know when Newman and Callum Williamson will be in PA? I'm assuming sometime in May, probably. Newton. It's Ryan Newton. Yeah, I would assume sometime in May, June. My expectation. Do you think Tim's on tour next year? I had an interesting conversation with Liebig. I don't know if next year, but I do think in the next 2-3 years, you will see that car on tour. I am now convinced, after a couple conversations at Knoxville, I think it's coming. I just don't know if it's next year or 2028. But I think by 2028, you could see that car on a tour, a national tour. They have all box sponsorship now. That helps. I think Liebig is very calculated, and he wants to build Ryan Timms, brick by brick, level by level. He's actually doing it the right way. And running for the Knoxville title this year is part of that. It's going to be interesting, but I wouldn't have said this before. I wouldn't have said this 2 months ago, but I do think that car will be on a national tour by 2028. Lincoln and Port Royal move up starting time for Saturday due to unseasonable cold temperatures. I think they could. They've done a good job with that. Both Lincoln and Port Royal have done that, whether it's for rain or cold weather. I'm a little concerned about cold weather even at Sharon. So it's going to be interesting. But I could see them doing it. No problem. And in the age of social media, you can do that. Hi, Jeremy. How was your Iowa trip? It was really good. I hung out with Neil Wilt. It was good traveling with him. Met some new people. The people we stayed with, he stays there for the Nationals. They were good people. And so they were kind enough to let me stay there and work, which was really good. And it was a good trip. I'm glad I made it. And there's a chance maybe I make that an annual thing. It's definitely a different vibe than the Nationals. Good call, Macedo, to use a freebie to test the Ford and sponsor show on live TV. And this is the thing, the FS1 live television shows, whatever you want to call them, that's the opportunity they give. So, yeah, I liked it. It surprised me that he used it that quick. It's not even May, and silly season has already started with the Connor Morrell news. Yeah, and the Scotty Thiel news. And the Steven Snyder news. Comes in waves. It comes in waves. And it seems like every year it's May, June. We're talking about something happening somewhere. And it's not even injuries. I don't consider the Anthony Macri injury to be a silly season thing or Kahne getting in his car. I do. This is, and I think the more money being on the line, I think that's been a big part of it. I think things are ramped up, and if you don't produce, you're going to get let go. I think tensions are higher. I would have loved to hear the exchange between Kofoid and Brown last Saturday. Yeah, I saw them sitting next to each other on the track. I can only imagine. How about a deep dive on Jerry Parrish, as he seems to be the person behind the PA Posse 410 series? We'll take it under advisement. Did Snyder get let go for looking at his other options? No. It wasn't. He wasn't looking at other options. It's not what happened. At least not from what I'm told by Steven Snyder and a couple of other people. Not debating what Swigert said was right or wrong. My question is, do tracks have rules, regulations, and driver expectations concerning what is said, or do they just make decisions as needed? Different tracks have different sets of rules. I know BAPS has a social media policy, for instance. I have not read the Port Royal rulebook. And I do think, while I agree with what you're saying, there has to be, you can't have every single situation in your rule book. Your rule book would look like the Encyclopedia Britannica. You can't do that. So again, I think there's some things that are common sense, and all the Swigert stuff was common sense. I don't think you need a rule for that. So I see both sides of it. Yes, you want it in print. Yes, you want guidelines. I think the NFL sometimes gets in trouble, or did get in trouble, because you could have, in the court of public opinion, you had two guys do the same things and they had different penalties. So it looks obviously biased. So I understand wanting those rules, but there's also some common sense things. And this, to me, was a common sense thing. Jeremy, did you get an interview with Buddy and Brown after Saturday's A? Any scoops on them hollering at each other under red? No, I do know I did not. And the reason is, surprisingly, I couldn't get to a couple of them. But I know Brown went down and said something, and then Buddy said something back. This was in the pit area. I do know that. So there you go. Nick Swigert has free Nick shirts for sale. Do you think that's a good look for him? I think it tells me he learned nothing. It tells me that he's probably going to make more selling those shirts than he does racing, because they don't race. And that's not, they don't race for much. 305s don't get much to win. It's like $500. So I don't, just, again, tells me he really didn't learn a lot. Bad look. I don't know if it's a bad look. For the younger 20 crowd, explain to them what the Encyclopedia Britannica is. It's a shame I'd have to. It's a shame I'd have to. I'm going to let them look it up. I'm going to tell them the same thing I tell my daughter. And my daughter sometimes listens to this show. And she goes, I can't believe you know, she's 13. So I always tell her, look it up and then get back to me and then we'll talk about it. So I'm going to say the same thing here. Schweiben's turning down Hefner is crazy. Not really. Again, young kid makes a commitment, stays with commitment. I'm okay with that. I think that says a lot about him. They're building Jeremy Elliott suites at Sealands Grove. I doubt that highly. That's funny, though. That made me laugh. Who sets the price for Woo, High Limit, and Lucas races? I've heard two different answers. What have you heard? Well, okay, first off, if it's a JV show, and what I mean by a JV show, which is a joint venture, the Outlaws will set the price. If it's a sanction show, straight sanction, meaning the track pays the World of Outlaws a sanction fee, and then everything falls on the track, like Williams Grove sets the price. So it depends which show you are. There aren't as many sanction shows anymore as there are joint ventures or JV shows. So that's the World of Outlaws. High Limit's the same way. They have the same sort of setup. There's three ways you could have a show. You could rent the track, which both series have done. You could have a JV show, which is joint venture, where you pay them a sanction fee, all the expenses and all the revenues are split. That helps the track, the risk level of the track. And I know both series seem to lean that way. And then you have the straight sanction, which is, Brian Carter, I want to host you guys. Here's your $25,000 for the night, and we get everything or lose everything. So, and that's where the price comes in. Sanction shows, the track sets the price. Deep dive on French crimes. That's an idea. We had Dave Sharpley on last week from Sharp Advantage. I thought it was really good. If you want to hear about the back injuries and some of the ins and outs of that, it was really good. It was really good. Very insightful. He's kind of in the center of those discussions. Who goes to the 27 car now? I don't know. I have a call in to Kurt Michael. He has not called me back yet. We'll see. If Buddy is getting sick of getting squeezed, maybe he should do less squeezing himself. It's hard racing. You know what? They all do it. This idea. I mean, Greg Hodnick, God rest his soul, he did stuff. Coming down the front stretch, he would kind of have that outlaw move where you're kind of going across the front stretch gradually to kind of pinch him down. Come on. I'm not going to get into too much of that. You can nitpick every lap at this point with whether it's Buddy, not Buddy, other people, but you can't have it both ways, regardless of who you are. How many wins for Rico this year? I do think he gets quicker as the tracks get slicker, because I think Ricky Warner really shines on that stuff. I'm going to say, the funny thing is he's even with last year. He didn't get his first win last year until May. Ten. How do you think our Cowboys will do this year? They'll be flirting with the playoffs. I don't know if they'll have enough steam to win the division. I think that's a bit much. Depends how quick that defense comes along. They picked up Gary on the front on the defensive line, Rashawn Gary. I think that's a good pickup. I'll say give me 11-6. I don't know their crossover games yet. I think they play the AFC North because they play the Ravens in Mexico City. The Steelers don't scare me at all. Cleveland's Cleveland. Baltimore up and down, new coach. Cincinnati, is Joe Burrow even going to be healthy by the time they play? I like them at 11 and 6. 11 and 6. Being optimistic. Kahne will be as fast as a 39M as DeWeese was. It's fair. DeWeese won in the 39M. Have you heard anything about a Central PA team buying an engine builder out? Yes, I have. And that's about all I'm going to say. What did I miss? What's going on with the 27 car? Steven Snyder is no longer the driver of the 27H. He was let go. In fact, I just got a text about it. Let's see. Is that definite? Hang on. Maybe they do have another driver. We'll see. Got to check it out. Might make a call tonight after the show. One thing I like about Carson Macedo is that he doesn't cry about getting raced hard like the other top two Woo drivers do. He can dish it out and take it in return. I think the other two are fine with it too, as long as they don't end up in a heap. That's where it becomes an issue. And I'm not saying anybody did that to them or I think where Gravel gets upset is that, hang on. Oh God, it's not definite. I think where Gravel gets upset is the thing with Logan. I think, and I also think I think Gravel and Buddy sometimes feel like they're blamed for stuff, and there's two sides to it. In other words, I think that's where Carson's more laid back. Carson is definitely more laid back than those two guys. So I don't know. I think David, Buddy, and Carson are the three best in the sport. I'm not changing that. How about the Eagles sniping the Steelers to get Lemon and trading for Greenard? Yeah, doesn't surprise me. Howie Roseman has this mystical power over every team for some reason. I don't know. I'm always amazed by how the deals Howie Roseman can pull. I'm always amazed. But we know that A.J. Brown's probably going to be gone. We'll see how it develops. Impressive first weekend for Justin Henderson, Ian Madsen, and the McGee 11 team. Will that be a Knoxville only deal? It's 34 to 36 races. I talked to Sam McGee and Henderson. I want to do something on Ian Madsen later in the year. That car's always been fast. The car's always been fast. I remember Spencer Basting winning. Was it the Doty in that car? It's always been fast. I think they'll win at Knoxville. I think it was a good first weekend, and it's Knoxville only, but they're gonna do some other shows. They're gonna run Huset's a couple times because that's up in near Henderson's home. So 34 to 36 races. Man, we missed you at Sealands Grove during the 410 winners interview. Hey, we are stoked to get the win, but the 23 was class of the field. Hey, Sean, I'm glad. Hey, congratulations on the win. I do not get credentials at Sealands Grove. They cut me off, so I'm not going to go someplace where I don't get a credential. I do this for a living. I'm past that. So that's not being arrogant. It's just, if you yank a credential from me because you don't like something I said, you're a little thin-skinned. But no, I thought good for you guys. Chase has just been on another level this year. I agree. they just keep getting better and better and better. But congratulations on the win. I think the last time Mark won was 2024, if I'm not mistaken. I think he only ran 12 races last year, but it's good to see your car back in victory lane. Dirt Vision needs to lower their price to compete with Flow because the price points make no sense. Well, so it's $400 for Dirt Vision, okay? If I'm not mistaken. $400, and I think that gets you everything. So you're telling me, let's say they get 70 races in, which is about the average, in between 70 and 75. So 400 divided by 70, $5.71 per show is too much? Come on now. Come on now. $5.71 is too much for a World of Outlaws event to watch it in the comfort of your own home? Oh, by the way, you get Williams Grove, Attica. You get the late I mean, I strongly disagree. Just because Flo wants to give it away, I think it's somebody says $2.99. I believe it's $3.99 though if it includes Volusia, Knoxville, everything. I could be wrong on that. But either way, it's dirt cheap. What are you talking about? Dirt Vision is priced just right. You know, I think Flo gives it away. I don't know. I mean, everybody has a different model, but I definitely don't think Dirt Vision is overpriced by any stretch. $299.99 for the annual fast pass on Dirt Vision. There you go. $300, it's even cheaper. Now you're in the $4 range. Come on. That's dirt cheap. That's stealing. What did Kasey Kahne do when Eric Prutzman was the crew chief? They had a falling out, and that was it. He had a couple good runs, but they split. Eric got fired. Love all the people that think you have to choose High Limit or the World of Outlaws and then trash the other. More racing is awesome. Multiple streaming platforms is great. More exposure to our niche sport. Agreed. You said a couple weeks ago the 39M would sit because it had to win for it to make sense. What changed? I talked to Nick Macri last night. He said it's just in the blood. He has sponsors, and he wants to support the local speedways. The original plan was for it to sit, but it changed. What's Mooney been doing since Macri's accident? Top sprint car crew chief just sitting at home. Is he allowed to help other teams for the time being? I saw him in the pit area a few times, just kind of walking around. Wasn't working on anyone's car. I just think he was working on their stuff. Could be working on a Knoxville car. Could be working on a Kings Royal car. Who knows? Don't know how long Anthony Macri is going to be out. It's still undetermined. And now he's going to be working. So, no, I didn't see him working on anyone else's car. You pay that guy not to work on other people's car. I was at Sealands Grove Friday. They had to get cars lined up in the correct position. That's why the team had time to change the tire. Fair enough. Yeah, look, sometimes it takes, especially if Chase lapped that many cars, could be scoring. Somebody said earlier there was a lot of debris on the track. That's fair. So, okay, he had time to do it. I'm not saying he didn't. You just don't see that very often. What about the proposed data center going in close to Williams Grove Speedway? I've heard a little bit about that, but I also know that counties are now speaking out against these data centers because it affects the local community as far as their utility charges. So this is something and it's not anything with the racetrack, but communities are speaking out against these data centers now because of the amount of juice they use. And then of course, it goes up. So I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen. Deep dive with Jovan Schriltz. I think I've done like 4 deep dives with him when he's been on my podcast. I think everybody knows about him now. Sorry, Jeremy, what is the fastest top speed dirt track in the country that you can think of? I've been told Volusia Speedway Park is the fastest track in the country just because of the air and you're at sea level. Now, is Knoxville fast? I know this. When you wreck at Knoxville, they're all hard. They're all hard. There's no light ones. There's no light tip over. You wreck hard. So, but I'd say Volusia. That's what everybody says. Why did the Outlaws run 2 non-qualifiers and 4 heats instead of 6 heats? They switched this last year where they got rid of the 6 heat format and they went with the non-qualifiers once you get past 20 cars. So it's just a format change that they made a while ago. When will Dietz be on tour? Will it be with Stamens? I don't think I don't see Chase Dietz going on tour. I think they like running around here. I think John Stamen also likes seeing his car. I don't see them going on tour. I just don't. But who knows? Anything could change. Jeremy Elliott was very stealthy and covert all weekend at Knoxville. No, I wasn't. I was down in turn 4 where I normally stand for the Nationals. I like going over to the pit area to news doesn't happen in the stands. I make sure that I'm close to the pit area, that if I need to get over there and talk to somebody before, say, they leave or something else, I can do that. Usually I'm over in the pit area before warm-ups or before hot laps. Then I walk over. And then I'm there till time trial. I'm there through heat races. And then after heat races, I come back and walk the pit area again. And then I usually don't care about the C main just because I don't. I usually get back in position, last chance showdown at some point. And then I'm there till the end. So I just kind of do my own thing and have my way of making sure I have access to the pit area if something happens. Covert. Disappointed in Brent Marks at Knoxville on Saturday night. Was hoping he could have matched or bettered his 4th place finish on Friday night. Tough year for Brent. I think they're still finding their sledding with the new team, with the new crew. I think they're still gelling, and it's a slow go. And I think Brent has to take the lead there a lot, just from an experience standpoint. I mean, Brent raced. I think people forget Brent raced with the World of Outlaws at one time before he came back and, ran the pick and choose schedule. And now with High Limit, I just think it's going to take time. Young crew, not a ton of experience, and Brent kind of has to do more, I think. They'll come along. It's going to take some time, but I expect the finishes to get better toward the end of the season or middle end of the season. Merch update. I'm waiting for some advertising to come in. I have 3 irons in the fire right now, so to speak, where I'm waiting just to hear. I'm waiting to hear back. I have the kind of the print that would be used or what they would look like, but I'm just waiting for the advertising to come through, and then I can do something. Losing pay-per-view at BAPS set me back. So I have to be careful. Do you think Snyder would make a good fit in a 39 car? I think Snyder would be a good fit in general. I think Steven Snyder Jr. is going to be a good driver. I like what I see so far. He shows up at Williams Grove, second time out, wins. And I know he started up there. I get all that. But he didn't give it away. I think Steven Snyder could be really good. Now, he's never going to unseat Macri or anything. But I don't know. Who knows how long Anthony's going to be out? Maybe it's an option. I can't answer. I don't know what the thinking is for the 39M, meaning I don't know what their plans are after Kasey. I have no problem with Kasey getting in the car, as I said earlier, and we'll see what happens. But I think Steven Snyder is going to be really good. A good young driver, 21 years old. He only has 33 starts. He has 2 wins. I saw him at Eldora, and he was impressive. He was running in the top 10 during last year's night before the Kings Royal, and he was caught up in the Aaron Reitzel crash. That field was stacked, and he looked really good. So Steven Snyder Jr. is a guy you keep an eye on, and I hope he gets something. Any idea of the deal between Jace Park and Brian Brown? Notice they have been parked together, and Park's car looks exactly like BBR equipment. Yeah, I actually talked to Jace Park, and I will be doing a story on it probably tomorrow. They're one of the stories that I interviewed. I got interviews on out there. It's basically he's under the Brian Brown banner. The equipment was paid for by Jace Park, and Brian's kind of mentoring him. And who knows where that goes down the road. But I thought Jace Park looked pretty good over the weekend. He made both A mains. Finished 14th and 22nd, I believe. That's not bad. Again, that field was loaded. So I like what I see with Jace Park and listening to Brian Brown. I mean, Brian Brown's been around a long time. He's traveled a lot. And if you're going to be good at Knoxville, he's definitely a guy you want to listen to. I like this. I like the move. Really do. Deep dive with Macri's dad. I've actually asked Nick that, and Nick isn't doing that. I would love to get Nick on. But I don't think that's something he wants to do. Unless I gave him coffee. If I bribe him with coffee, maybe I could get him to do it. Any word on what the second hauler is in Gravel's video at the shop was about? I do not. Were you disappointed by Schott's 9th and 10th this weekend? Disappointed in his qualifying efforts. I'm not disappointed in 9th and 10th because of where he started. But again, they got to start qualifying better. So in one regard, yes, I'm disappointed. I'm not disappointed where he ended up as much as that he just qualified bad. They got to figure out this qualifying thing because he passes cars. He's passed over 100 cars this year in feature action, and they're not all stiffs. Like, he's passing some good cars. You got to qualify better in these races or you're out to lunch. That's it. So I'm disappointed in his qualifying, not where he finished. Is Kahne running the Grove tune-up race Friday? Yes. High Limit allows 1 provisional for midweek shows and 3 for regular shows. I believe Marks used his midweek provisional Tuesday at Eagle. I can't say for sure. I tuned into that one late. I was tied up with my daughter, I believe. So I'll take your word for it. I didn't look. Jeremy, tell us about the Sprint Car Unlimited TV and PA Posse TV conflict and the demise thereof. There's not really a conflict. I was the pay-per-view provider at BAPS. PAPosse.tv came to light. The three owners at Lincoln own PAPosse.tv. Scott Gobrecht owns BAPS. He owns part of Lincoln. So he brought them in. We tried to get it. I guess we were in the running, supposedly, and it just didn't work out. I don't have a conflict. I really don't say a lot about them. And I know they've had some problems that have been, all you have to do is go on Facebook. You can see that. And it's just not, it's not as easy as people think to do this. I will say this. Look for maybe some changes in the future with SprintCarUnlimited.tv. There's some things in the works, and I'll have more on it later. Not right now, but there's not a conflict. They did they made a business decision. I don't agree with it. Obviously, we never had problems, but it's something they just thought they needed to do. So that's what they did. Jeremy, did you hear Austin McCarl's interview on Wing Nation about today's safety equipment? I did not. Now I know there's a lot. No, wait a minute. I did hear him talk about some of the safety equipment. So yes, I heard some of it. I think it's premature at this point without studying and getting a lot of data to say what's causing it and what isn't. That being said, he has his thoughts on it. I'm not going to say he's wrong because I don't know if he is. I'm not going to say he's right because I don't know if he is. I've not seen all the data. I think it'd be stupid for me to say either way. But I do think this is a major issue, and I do think we need good, solid data gathering and research to find out what the problem is. Not quick decisions, not hey, we're going to make a product and get it out there, make everybody buy it. It needs to be studied. This isn't something that I feel, and we talked about it on the deep dive with Dave Sharpley. He was very good about he's actually has a database where he's talking to guys and, okay, what were you using? What were the safety precautions you were using? Were you using a Hans? Were you using a hybrid? Were you using, a Chasm? Were you using, and he's building this data. And I think that needs to be done. I think there's going to be an initiative coming out real soon that I heard about at Knoxville that I will be reporting on later. I was kind of sworn to keep it quiet now, and I will. But I think there's going to be some new things coming out as far as data gathering templates that are going to help this problem. I know Sunshine won at Tricky Hop Stop, but I think the 7BC Spire 77 and Stenhouse Marshall Racing 17 all use Stanton engines. Think maybe they need to step up that program. I would say, I don't think that's stepping out of line saying that. I don't think they're really fast right now. I think, again, I do think they need some help in the motor department. And the results speak for themselves. Hopstad's kind of a unique animal. I don't think you need a lot of power there. I think they need to catch up. I do think, if you're going to tell me a Stanton's a Morrison, no. I think they probably have some work to do in the engine department. The speed shows. So I'm sure they're working on it. And the nice thing for that scenario is you have three teams. You have three teams on your stuff, and that should close the gap a little bit. You don't have one where you have R&D with one team, or you can only try something with one team. Here you have three teams, and I think that's good. The more information you can gather quicker, I think the better off you'll be. Joe Mooney is also putting together a similar spreadsheet tracking back injuries data. Yes, he is. I heard about that. Why do you always wear a sweatshirt indoors? It's a hoodie. It's chilly. It's Pennsylvania. It was 54 degrees today. I don't have anything under it. I'm not wearing a t-shirt under it. So I'm not going to change 3 times a day. And I keep my apartment pretty cool. I don't like stinking hot. So 80, you live in California, so your blood's a lot thinner. And if it's 60 degrees, you're in a winter coat. So no, I just have a hoodie on. That's it. It's been cooler here. I think I did a 90 at 9 earlier in the week, and I had a t-shirt on because outside. You know, I go outside. I move around a little bit. So, you know, I'm not naked, Sugar Bear. Nobody wants to see that. Hoodie, no pants. Come on. Of course I have pants on. Jeremy, your thoughts on all NOS cars being horrible lately? I think some of it is. I think they're all unique problems. I do think the engine program maybe isn't where they want it to be. So that right away is 3 cars. I think the problem with Gio is, dude, that team started in December. Everything, scratch. It's going to take time. Tyler Courtney's coming off an injury. You have a new driver crew chief combination in the 17. I think there's a lot of moving parts. I do think the engine program probably needs to pick up a little bit, and I think they will. I mean, everybody goes through this. You know, unless you're a Charlie Garrett or a Morrison. So I just think it's going to take some time there. I think they'll all be fine. Snyder will be full-time in the Spire 87 Chad Boat car next year on a high limit tour. Maybe, maybe not. I know he's going to run that car Saturday at Texas. Logan Seavey's going to run it Thursday. Snyder will be in it on Saturday. With a recent DQ in a late model race, there's talk about abandoning tire rules for dirt racing. Why don't they understand that would make racing worse, not better? Rubbered up tracks, money advantages, so on. I tend to agree with you. To me, if you're not checking, it's just laziness, or you need to come up with a better process. Whatever the case is there. I just don't. It's just, yeah, I don't believe in less rules for it, especially in this day and age. Over under 1.5 wins for Brian Brown at Knoxville this year. Ooh, good question. With Tim's being full-time at Knoxville this year. I'm going to go over. He looked better this week. He timed better. So I think they'll kind of turn things around, especially at Knoxville. So, yeah, I think he gets more than 1.5 wins. Do you think it's right to charge the car owner $40 to get in? Robert Kraft doesn't pay to get in his own stadium. No players for the Patriots or any other team in the NFL pay to get in. I would love to see a track. And I know it's a pipe dream, and I get the finances of everything. I understand that. If a track could somehow afford to give all their teams at least 2 pit passes, I think their car count would skyrocket. I think that track could definitely be on the uptick. Now, I know you're giving up a lot of revenue because you do the math. That's $80. Let's say 20 cars, $1,600. You know, double it, it's $3,200. I mean, I get the economics to it. And I know they depend on their back gate. Do I think it's right? No. Do I think this industry has made it too much of a necessity? Yes. Any word on if 100% is running anything this year? Not. I didn't see anything full time. I think he has some spot duty someplace, but not full time. What's the Buffalo score? Does anybody have it? Buffalo, Boston. Who scored for the Sabres and the assists? That's your homework, Eric. I have Doan to get at least 1 point. So, all right, let's get back to it. Which Central PA tracks do you think make out the best financially? Port and the Grove, because of the number of sanction shows they have. I think the Tuscarora 50 is huge. The Weikert's getting bigger. Grove, obviously, with the 6 World of Outlaws events and then the National Open on top of it. That's usually a really big moneymaker. So I'd say the Grove and Port. But right now, I'd say Port. Or Williams Grove, sorry. Sabres, Dahlin with the goal, Thompson with the assist. I only 1 assist. I need Doan for a point. All right, what else do we got? How long do you give Baston in the 17 if the year continues to trend the way it has been? Started off fast and seemed to have slowed down dramatically. Had a top 5 recently. I think they give him the year. I don't think they're going to pull the plug on him. And I don't think they should. Not yet. I think it's way too early to speculate on that. I think sometimes teams have the hooks are too quick. Speaking of Marks, what's going on with the developmental ride of that deal? I've heard nothing since I've reported on it. I've not heard anything. Not a peep. Now, I haven't asked him either, but I've not heard anything. Mansfield opener this Saturday, Fast 410 series. Should be interesting. There's going to be a lot of eyes on that just to see the track conditions. I'll be one of them. It'll be interesting to see, and it'll be interesting to see who goes there as opposed to Sharon. Sorry, my eyes leaking. What's up with Cisney and the 5 car this past weekend? A regular thing? No, he's still running the 27. He is going to bring out his own car once in a while. Are they running the big track at Belleville? Yes, which concerns me dramatically. Snyder has now been fired twice by Hefner. Oh, okay. I only know of this one, but all right. Having Brownie as a mentor is huge for a young kid like that. Yeah, Jace Park's only 19. I didn't really realize that until I talked to him this week. Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, Brown's been around forever. Of course, he has the ties to Danny Lasowski. Brown knows the game. And Brown knows the financial end of it and also how you need to treat your sponsors. And I think that's important. That's where the money comes from. So, yeah, I don't think there's a downside to having Brian Brown as your mentor. Look for Marks to be more consistent going forward. Some new equipment testing now stopped and back to what got him wins. That's all I can say. Yeah, I expect Marks to be better as the season wears on. Again, the guys in the crew get more experience. so on and so forth. So that wouldn't surprise me at all. He was let go from the Hefner USAC car a couple years ago. Okay. Forgot about that. My bad. Deep dive Rico's dad would be great. I would love to get Rico's dad on. I think that'd be a great interview. Marks is going to his joint this weekend. I expect 2 top 5s at Texas. I'm worried about the weather. Weather does not look good down there at all. So that's probably beating the weather is going to be harder than beating anybody in that field. With high limit off the weekend of May 16th, do you see lots of high limit drivers racing at Port Royal for the Keith Kaufman Classic, paying $16,000 to win? Track time before the Weikert weekend. I think a lot of them are going to be at Let's Race 2 at Eldora because you want to get track time for the King's Royal. And that would be the last time you could do it. I think if it wasn't for Let's Race 2, I'd say yeah. But I think the bulk of the guys are going to go to Let's Race 2 at Eldora. Jeremy can't afford heat due to gambling and sprint car trips. No, that's not. I can afford heat. I just don't like it. I don't like it real hot. You know, I keep my apartment at about 68 degrees. That's comfortable to me. Never liked it really hot. Top 5 crew chiefs in sprint car racing. Ricky Warner, Paul Silva, God, I mean, I'd say Guy Forbrook if I don't know how much he's racing. I mean, there's some good guys. I mean, you have Joe Mooney with Macri, who obviously looks like he knows what he's doing. I think Eric Prutzman, he's a 6-time National Touring Series champion crew chief. I think, you have Philip Dietz. I think Dylan Buswell with Kofoid has to be creeping up the list. Cody Jacobs, he's 2-time World of Outlaws champion crew chief. So I think it's tough. Once you get past the first 2, I think you have a lot of guys right in the mix there for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. I'd have to sit down and think about it, but yeah, there's some guys there. Does the IRP, the Indy Race Part 71, no longer use Garrett? One of the Knoxville announcers said they had a Wood racing engine in at Knoxville. I think when Charlie Garrett retired, I think that probably ended. I know Rudine bought a bunch of Garrett's from Bernie Stubjen at Indy Race Parts. So I think they probably moved on to something else. 62 cars this past weekend, 25 cars start the feature, and 37 drivers were parked. To make the show both nights was a good night. I would agree. Tough field. I again don't like provisionals, but they are that nobody's changing that. But yeah, no, I thought it was good. I think you make the field both nights, and if you could run in the top 5 one of those nights, only 2 guys finished in the top 5 each night. And that was David Gravel and Ryan Timms. So it was a very, very difficult field, and I would say it's harder than the Knoxville Nationals qualifying night. Opinion on port suspension for language. I agreed with it. I talked about this last week, and I'll say it again. He knew what he was doing. He had a 25-minute break in between the race and victory lane. He said it 3 times. He knew what he was doing. He didn't make a mistake. It wasn't like he lost his keys. It wasn't some Freudian slip. He did it 3 times. And everybody's hung up on the year suspension. 305s don't run there every week. What are you going to do? Suspend it for 2 months and you get like 3 races in there? 305s are not a regular division at Port Royal. again, I have no problem with any suspension they would have given him. I heard a few years ago that Port loves seeing 40 and 4305s because of the pit pass sales, of course. Does that math work out, or was Steve the drunk talking out his ass again? No, I mean, why wouldn't you like it? I mean, it's become back gate to some degree. It's another source of income. Why wouldn't you want that? So no, I think that they definitely like 40 plus cars, especially if they're getting 24, 25 in the 410 division, or they're only getting 18, 19 late models, supers. So of course, yeah. Any rumblings yet on what Larson Bell might be doing for Speed Week? Not yet. If we see Larson, I think it'll be Monday through Thursday or Monday through Wednesday. Bell, I haven't heard anything on. Saw a bunch of people advocating for Lucas Wolf to get in time in Macri's car. Just curious your thoughts. Don't think that's going to happen. I think Lucas Wolf is, I think he wants to do his own stuff, run his own stuff. And there's some things that obviously he's working on to do that. I don't think he has any interest in driving anyone else's car at this point. Do you miss covering high school wrestling? Yes. Yes. I enjoy it. In the state of Pennsylvania, it's great because it's one of the best states for it. You know, New Jersey's good. California's good. Iowa, not quite as good as those three, I would say. But yeah, covering it in Pennsylvania was great. And I miss the variety, covering different things sometimes. But yeah, at college, covering college wrestling was good too. Is the 69K making the tow to Texas this year? No, but they are going to Super Dirt Cup with Darren Pittman in the car. Now, will they go to the one at the end of the year? That I have no idea, but they're not going this weekend. If Highland cancels early enough, do we get any of them this weekend in PA? If it's early enough, I think you could see it. The only problem is they're regular shows, but I don't really think that matters. I think you could. But the problem is the Outlaws are in Ohio, and I could see them going to Attica and sharing. But maybe you get one or two, maybe three. I could see high limit guys going to Knoxville as well. What are your thoughts on Sunday makeup shows for Friday or Sunday rainouts? They don't work traditionally. Unless they're already built into the schedule, they usually don't work. So I'm not in favor of them. Just cancel. Now, look, if you're getting to the point where you're losing a lot of shows and sponsors are getting upset, so on and so forth, then you bite the bullet and do it. But as a rule, if it's not on your schedule already, that's usually not good. They don't work. King Shot coming into the States. What's your thoughts on this? I think we need more of it. I like it. Didn't know anything about him really until I watched it, watched the Australia stuff. Anxious to see him over here. I guess he's going to be in the Lundster car, if I'm not mistaken. So be interesting to see him in the Midwest, a place like Huset's. That could be entertaining. I think he can win there. Anxious to see it. I like when the Australians come over. I've been trying to learn more about crew chiefs. Any suggestion on best place to look for info? I talk about crew chiefs. World of Outlaws have done stuff on crew chiefs. Man, but for one source where you could look them all up, man, that's tough. I think the best thing you could do is if you send me an email, what I'll do is I will give you a list of crew chiefs for some of the top teams, and you can kind of follow them as they do well, as those teams do well, and you can go from there. I think there's not a database for crew chiefs. It's kind of, you got to know who's where and then learn that way. Like Paul Silva, he's with Larson, he's sweet. Philip Dietz is with Carson Macedo. Eric Prutzman's with Gio Selzy. Cody Jacobs is with Big Game Motorsports and Gravel. Dylan Buswell is with Buddy Kofoid. Those are some of the big ones there. You have Ricky Warner with Rico Abreu. Guys like that. Joe Mooney with Anthony Macri. And it really is a team sport. Driver gets credit and all that, but you've got to have both ends of it. You got to have a good owner who knows when to shut up and stay out of the way and when to press certain buttons. So best thing I can tell you is you gotta learn who's where and then look at the results. I wish I had a better answer on that. What is your estimate of how many 410 cars in the country? I know last year 903 cars made money, meaning got a check. 903. So I'd say somewhere in that neighborhood. How many times can we expect to see Snyder Jr. in the Chad Boat 87? Anything past this week on already scheduled? No. Talk to him today. Saturday is the only one that's currently scheduled. How's the dust situation been at Selinsgrove, being that they have to pay for their water Viacom meter? I have no idea. I've not been to Selinsgrove. Again, sorry, just haven't been there. Curious your thoughts on support division car counts. Tracks need that back gate money across the board. Sport division counts are lower than the last few years. Do tracks move away from support feeder divisions? Interesting question. I know there's a 358 sprint car problem, especially at Lincoln Speedway. Huge problem at Lincoln with 358s. I think their average right now is 18 for 3 shows. Never was that low. It was always in that 30 range, even after the first, show of the year, which, guys aren't always ready. They don't always have their stuff ready, but 3 shows now, 14, 18, 22. That's terrible. Williams Grove's drawing 22. BAPS drew 27. So you have to ask yourself why BAPS, a fringe track, is getting more. I have a few theories. And I also know, talking to some people, why Lincoln is suffering a little bit with that. But it's a slippery slope. So I don't think they move away from them. And the reason they won't move away from them, they still want back gate money. So as long as that's in play, support divisions are safe. I haven't seen many support divisions go away. Super late models, it's just decreasing in this area. I think 358s, there's an abundance of reasons why they're lower. Some of it is track conditions. Some of it is some social media posts from owners from track owner that didn't go well, didn't land very well. And I think cost is another thing that's always in play. I mean, fuel's more now than it's been, and the cost of tires and whatnot are higher. I just think there's a lot of reasons why these car counts are lower, but I don't think they go away from them. And the reason, first off, if you're going to charge more money, like $30, and people aren't going to pay $30 for 20 some cars for a 410 race. You're going to have to put something else on it. So I don't believe that they're going to go away. I do think tracks better be mindful of some of the needs of these lower divisions. I know people don't show up to see these divisions because if they were on the marquee, as a top division, nobody come. We've seen this. So I just think there needs to be a working relationship. I do think there needs to be some kind of middle ground to where there's a sweet spot, so to speak. I just don't know what it is. But I don't see him going away. That I don't see. Do Outlaws have an all-time win list for car owners? I have not seen one. I only see the drivers. Lunster Ride is correct. 39M team, have they pondered Zeb Wise at all, or still a no-go now? Zeb Wise isn't looking for some part-time local thing. I'd be willing to bet he's not in a car for years. I think he's doing his own thing with the job he has outside of racing. I think he obviously wants to be on the road. I don't think that that's something he's going to do. And I don't think anybody's calling at this point. So, no, I don't think the 39M probably even thought of him. Maybe, I don't know, but I doubt it. Doubt it highly. Any update on John Trone? I do know he's out of the hospital. He's in a rehab facility. Good things. I mean, it was looking really bad and didn't think he'd leave the hospital. Now he's in a rehab center, so that is a huge positive. So we're wishing him the best. Jeremy, is Paul Silva the most successful crew chief to come out of California, past and present? Billy Albini was really good out there. I think they had some other guys. I mean, he might be from a national standpoint, winning the nationals and whatnot. I'd have to look into that, but I mean, at first glance, probably, because he's won the Kings Royal, he's won the Knoxville Nationals, he hasn't won the Williams Grove National Open, but I would assume yes. Over 60 cars at Knoxville this past weekend. What is over under for Nationals car count? Like 92, 93. Say 92, 93. That's what I'm expecting. Before we go, Kenny Woodruff. Also, I forgot about him. I forgot he was from out there. So yes, Kenny Woodruff, good catch, Lauda. That's a close one. It's a close one. But, they both had good drivers. But Kenny Woodruff does have a Knoxville Nationals title. He does have a Kings Royal title. And he does have an Outlaw Championship. So, tough one. We need more shows like this. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But my voice is about shot, and I'm going to turn on some hockey, and I'm also going to work on the 90 at 9. So thank you very much for joining the show. I appreciate it, and we'll be back next week. I don't know about next week. Might have to go Monday next week because the Outlaws are at Lincoln, plus there's a hockey game, so I have to decide if I'm going to send Eric to Lincoln. He doesn't know it yet, but we'll see.